Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the final week of regular season play in the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference, and what better way to end it with the extreme game of the week? Spencer Thompson and Trent Legate live for Franklin Classical School, hosting Franklin Christian Academy in one of the most bitter rivalries in the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference. You've heard for the last 2 weeks a lot of talks about coin toss controversy, a lot of different talks about, seedings, and the honest truth is right now we do not know who is going to be in the playoffs as of now. We honestly do not know. And Trent, as we look, we have right in front of us what we have the best prediction. Get over here, Trent. We have the tie-breaking scenarios and coin toss and everything that's going to happen. Basically, FCS still has a chance at the playoffs, but they have to depend on Webb to win for them to have a coin toss to get into second place. But let's not talk so much about playoff seedings because it's all up in the air and everything's questionable. But let's talk about this game that we're going to see here. Franklin Christian and Franklin Classical. The Knights held Christian Community, one of the arguably the best team in MTAC, 28-6, while the Falcons are down to their third-string quarterback, in essence, or down to a third quarterback as both of their first and second strings broke their legs or tore their ACL in between that. So this is going to be a very rush-heavy game. And with the Knights' defense holding Christian Community to 28 points, it's going to be a really good game to see.
I think it has potential to be the best game all season in the last week. So FCS has to show up to shut down FCA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course we do see that FCA, again, I did have the chance to talk with the coaches beforehand, and Coach Benjamin Pugh, the offensive coordinator, he said they're going to be a little bit more rush heavy, but they have three dominant forces in the backfield: Hayden Weeks, Andrew Schindel, and John Buchanan. So they have those dominant forces in the backfield as well. And then for FCS, they're down to their second-string quarterback, Eli Cornett, the freshman, who has been confirmed because Cole Warren apparently has been playing with a torn ACL without even knowing it. He played last week, and they believe that he tore that ACL in the Christian Community game, but he didn't realize until yesterday that he had torn it there. So they're down to their second-string quarterback, who's had some reps within the game, but it's going to be interesting to see how Cornett, a freshman racking up stats very well, has managed to get the second-string quarterback position.
Yeah, but he's not been racking up stats in the QB position. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing to look at. If anything, this is a good build game for Cornett because I don't really know the grade of their starting quarterback. But if he is a senior, then this is great for FCS, giving him probably the highest, besides playoffs or bowl game, this is the highest point that he'll be playing at and the most intensity against the guys. So it's a good start. I'm sure they're going to be running it a lot out of the pocket, a lot of QB draws. I'm just saying this might be a great game for Eli Cornett, or this might just be a terrible game for him because we haven't really seen him play in this position yet.
Yeah, we certainly we have not seen him in the quarterback position. He'll have his chance to prove himself tonight as Cornett tries to keep FCS's playoff hopes alive with a victory here over the Falcons. And the Falcons only having one loss on their season, and that was to the Webb School 33-30. And the Knights having two, losing to Webb 50-48 and losing to Suwannee by 6. So we look at the shot of the field here. Both teams warming up, of course, ready to go. It's MTAC rivalry week, as it's put. The Knights of Franklin Classical and the Falcons of Franklin Christian is next. So Franklin Classical School on their senior night hosting the Falcons. We're about to have their coin toss here in the seniors for FCS. All captains tonight. So Trent and I are going to try to break down for you the playoff scenarios and if this team wins and such. And essentially what it comes down to is very few teams control their destiny in the league, Trent. And it's a sad thing that we've talked about in the last 3 weeks, and we know fully well that MTAC will change these policies going into next season, not just for football, but for the rest of the season. So in the North, it's simple. If Lighthouse wins, they force a three-way coin toss. But if Lighthouse loses, Christian Community is first place, South Haven is second place, Lighthouse is in the bowl game. That's simple in the North, but I mean, the coin toss itself is, as we've already talked about, which we don't have to go more in depth anymore of how kind of ridiculous the coin toss itself is. And the South will break down as soon as we apologize for the camera shaking there. There's the bleachers here, too many people walking on. It's great bleachers. I mean, it's great bleachers here at Franklin Classical, Trent. Great bleachers.
The referees Larry Tidwell, umpire Gary Nicholson, linesman Lamarius Merriweather, line judge Marlon Parker, back judge Quincy Eagle, and the DCO is Felix Mitchell.
All right, so we're just waiting for the result of the coin toss occurring here. Captains discussing here in the middle of the field. We'll break down the seeding for the South teams in a few moments.
That's not our roster. We're not it from FCA. Sorry. We don't have an extra one, unfortunately.
So Franklin Classical has won the coin toss and elected to defer, so the Falcons will receive and try to score nearest to the scoreboard. So here's the breakdown for the South, Trent. At least not an easy breakdown, but here's the case. If Webb and FCA win tonight, Webb is the #1 seed, FCA is the #2 seed, and Suwannee goes to the bowl game because they have the tiebreaker victory over FCS. If Suwannee and FCA win, it's a three-way coin toss for first, second in the bowl game between FCA, Suwannee, and Webb. If Webb and FCS win tonight, Webb gets first seed, FCA, FCS, and Suwannee are on a coin toss for second in the bowl game. And if Suwannee and FCS win, Suwannee gets first, Webb gets second, and FCS gets the bowl game.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be out here tonight, and we give you all the honor and the glory for the opportunity to be together in fellowship, but also to watch this great game and to enjoy this great weather. God, we pray for each of the players as they play tonight that you would protect them. Lord, let them leave their hearts on the field and play with all their might. But also, Lord, we pray for sportsmanship, that they would carry themselves as men of God. We also pray for the referees and the coaches tonight as they stand in a place of leadership. And just pray, Lord, that this game would be glorifying to you as we celebrate. God, be with us as we have a time together of just celebrating this game. In Jesus' name, amen.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars
lot of playoff implications tonight as the Knights and the Falcons take the field. So the Knights the Knights won the coin toss and have elected to defer. So as we were saying before the national anthem here, Trent, I mean, there is still a chance for FCS to be in the playoffs, but they don't control their own destiny. They have to win, and another team has to win for them to either have the coin toss or to have the bowl game. So no team tonight is guaranteed a slot in the postseason because of the coin toss and all of the league's scenarios. So obviously, as we've said, it's something the league will reform going into the next season, more so than ever before. But you know, as a player, I'm sure that it wasn't specifically on your mind to think if we win to keep our postseason. Your main focus was to just play your game. That's at least what we got from the coaches post game, is that they wanted to play their game one at a time. But now look, I know you're from Pleasant View, and I know that the whole postseason thing. But as a player, at least from a player's perspective, I'm sure you can agree, being on your mind is not that, oh, we have to win this to get the coin toss, all that stuff.
It is, actually, but I've never been in that position. I mean, this is your whole season in one game, so you gotta win it to keep moving on. So yeah, it's in their mind. I mean, it's probably not the whole entire thing that they're thinking about, but it's one of the biggest things.
Because we know FCS is going to win.
Yeah, and of course, it again for FCS, they still have a chance at the semi for the number 2 slot. At the moment, the only teams that can get the number 1 slot, actually, any of them could get a number 1 slot, but Webb is most favored to, because if they win, either way, if Webb wins, they get number 1 seed in the South. As long as they win, they are number 1 for the playoffs and will host a semi as well as the bowl game, the consolation, and the championship. So we're glad you're with us here on the 8-Man Extreme YouTube channel as we're off on Rivalry Week. It's an onside kick through the legs of Graham Harrison, and the Knights recover to start off the game with the kickoff. Right between the legs of Graham Harrison, the Knights have the ball in Falcon territory.
Go way to start off your FCS. You get that momentum, keep going on your side.
And Graham Harrison, the ball just going between his legs there, unable to fall down and trap it. So the Knights with good possession. It was an interesting choice for them to defer it on senior night, and it's paid off well. So let's look at that offense for the Knights. You got number 2 at the quarterback position, Eli Cornett. Cole Warren out with a torn ACL, so his season essentially over as Cornett in the shotgun, motion on the play. Cornett with a flag thrown. Looks like they're going to call a false start on the offense, so it'll be 1st and 15. So the starting offense for the Knights, you've got Eli Cornett at the quarterback position. Looks like you've got Jaden Frazier, number 9, Eli Cornett, number 2. Number 22, Caden Dickerson. Number 34, Joshua Sperry. Number 35, Ernie McKinnon. Number 55, Josh Austin. Number 82, Jack James. And number 86, Isaiah Austin. All the starting offense for this 8-man Knight squad. So 1st and 15 after the false start. Cornett with motion on the play. Hands it off. So rush attempted up the middle. That's Caden Dickerson on the run. Get a gain of a few yards on the play. 2nd down and 13.
So we're talking about their D-line, but look at this next play. If they line up the same, they're lining up in a 2-man front and keeping Minor back a little bit, back about 2 yards off the line.
And of course, Brandon Minor, one of the dominant defensive forces in MTAC. I believe he has the league lead in sacks right now. As Cornett, toss on the right side, caught. Hook back inside, a little bit forward progress called on the play. That's a reception by 82 Jack James. A big gain back from the penalty. It's now about 3rd down and 4 for Franklin Classical.
Yeah, now if you're FCS's coach, you see that twice. Minor's playing covers. You only have 2 guys on the front line. You got Josh Austin right there at the core of your offensive line. You run straight up his butt. All until they switch it back to make that more better for them. You keep on running straight up Josh Austin's butt.
Look at Franklin Christian's starting defense. Number 10, Ben Duncan. Number 27, Brandon Minor. Number 30, Michael Griggs. Number 40, Hayden Weeks. Number 88, Owen Springle. Number 89, Zane Quibido. and number 9, Sonny Reed, number 21, John Buchanan. Incomplete pass on the left side. It'll bring up 4th down and 4 for the Knights. We'll see what they attempt here. And I believe we have a scoring update actually from Suwannee already. Looks like we have 3 score updates right now. Suwannee leading 7-0 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Christian Community leading 8-0 with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. And in the first, Bowling Green leading 8-0 over the Defenders. So Suwannee takes out the early lead against Webb, and Christian Community the early lead against Lighthouse. Since it's now 4th and 4, the Knights going for it here. Motion on the play. Cornet, but a flag thrown. And they'll call this offsides on the defense. Move it up 5 yards. I believe it's actually 4th and 6. Well, we'll see what they move it up here. It's an offsides. It's not 4th and 6. It's 1st down and 10 with the penalty. It was 4th and 5. So a lucky break for the Knights there as an offsides gives them another set of downs. So the Knights back on offense. New hope for them on a new set of downs. Cornet in the shotgun again. Cornet motion on the play again. Cornet looking for someone to pass to. He's being seen by Minor for a sack.
Eli Cornet keeps the ball.
Brandon Minor bringing him down in the backfield. 2nd and 13.
That's just being your first quarter. That's just being a freshman quarterback. That's just not having your stuff. But you know, they're going to try to throw it on pretty much an 11-man coverage because they only got 2 men playing up front. So I really don't understand why they're not trying to run it straight up.
It's like they're trusting a little bit more of the passing game than the rushing, especially on their 2nd-string quarterback. But of course, Brandon Minor, you can't discredit him for being dominant force. And Bowling Green now 14-0 in the first quarter. So the Warriors has a fumble in the backfield, fallen on by Cornet for a huge loss. It's 3rd down and long for Franklin Classical.
Yeah, I don't know. This kind of looks like a first week game right now.
Looks a little bit like some first game jitters here. And again, I talked with Coach Seth Witherington before the game. He's saying Cornet as well as with some of the players that Cornet has started getting some reps this week to train. He's a little bit of the test quarterback going into next season since they'll lose Cole Warren. They were not expecting to lose him this soon, especially at a crucial time for the Knights to try and keep their playoff hopes alive. 3rd down and long as Cornet hands it off up the middle. Here's a run by Caden Dickerson, and he's brought down not near enough. It's now 4th down and 15 as the Knights. Possible to punt it away here, but they did go for it on 4th down on the last drive. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, you know, they finally listened to me. They actually got probably about 5-6 yards on that carry, and, you know, that's more than enough you need to win the ball game.
So 4th and long, it looks like the Knights are possibly going to go for it here unless they do a fake punt here, and they won't. Cornet looking on the right side. He's just going to take a rush. There is a flag down. It's Cornet trying to gain some yards. Maybe gets 1 or 2 yards on the play as they ruled the ball down by contact at the 41. Excuse me, the 41. Looks like the Falcons may have recovered the ball, but there is a flag down. See what tonight's official calls. It's a false start called on the offense. They've declined the Falcons have declined the penalty, and the result is a turnover on downs. So the Falcons on offense. So look at that Falcon offense. Starting at quarterback is number 12, Andrew Schindel, who was the 2nd-string quarterback, and they had their 3rd-string Caleb Schindel in last week. Actually, yes, they had their 2nd string in it was last week or 2 weeks ago against the Tennessee Heat, who Caleb Schindel unfortunately broke his knee. So now Andrew Schindel in the quarterback position as they call motion on the play. Switch up the strategy. Nice audible by Schindel. Schindel hands up. Buchanan on the right side. John Buchanan, the rush up the middle, dives for several yards. They'll spot him at the 44-yard line for a gain of 4 yards.
That is an all-star caliber running back right there.
John Buchanan just not playing the full season in 8-man football. He's traded originally from Centennial and did sit out for the trade period with MTAC rules. So Buchanan has been a viable asset to the Falcons offense. On 2nd and 4, Schindel. Buchanan again up the middle, managing to get a first down and more. He's brought down at the 45-yard line into Knight's territory. You're right about him being all-star caliber.
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he wasn't at the all-star game.
A little bit of potential wink nudge, who knows? Could be one of those things there. So looking at the Falcons starting offense, number 10, Ben Duncan, number 12, Andrew Schindel, number 27, Brandon Miner, number 30, Michael Griggs, number 40, Hayden Weeks, number 89, Zane Quibido, number 90, Graham Anderson, and number 21, John Buchanan.
Sound like an auction guy.
45, 45, 45. As a rush up the middle by Weeks. It's a gain of about 4 yards on the play, 2nd down and 6. It's Hayden Weeks brought down by several Knights.
And we're mentioning all-stars, but if you look at their backfield, they have 3 like all-star caliber running backs on their team. So like if one gets tired, well, hey, guess what? Weeks, come in. If Weeks gets tired, hey, if I mess up his name, Buchanan, come on in.
Yeah, so they definitely have enough options for them in case one person gets tired. As Schindel, there's a fumble and fallen on by the Falcons. Great move and recovery for Buchanan to keep the ball. A gain of about 2 more yards on the play, so this will be about 3rd down and 4.
That's an all-star caliber fumble right there.
I don't think there's such thing as an all-star caliber fumble. That you may have just coined a phrase there that nobody has tried before. Just imagine if the guys on ESPN did that. Just have John Gruden's like that. I'll tell you what, that's an all-star fumble right there. Just have John Gruden try that on Monday Night Football. They're going to be in Philadelphia next week. 3rd down and 4. They're going to be in Philadelphia. It's the Redskins-Eagles game as Schindel running on the left side. 1st down and more. Andrew Schindel brought down at the 20-yard line. 1st down, just actually stopped at the 23-yard line. The Falcons just outside the red zone.
Now, I want to see him pass it because I want to see Schindel try to throw a ball right here. That's what I want to see, and you're kind of seeing the offensive line holding up strong right now.
Let's look at that starting defense for the Knights. Number 7, Joshua Pace. Number 9, Jaden Frazier. Number 2, Eli Cornett. Here's Weeks trying to rush past stiff arm there and tripped up in the backfield for a loss of about 2 yards on the play. 2nd and 12. So starting defense for the Knights. Number 2, Eli Cornett. Number 7, Joshua Pace. Number 9, Jaden Frazier. Number 13, Ray Harlow. Number 22, Caden Dickerson. Number 34, Joshua Sperry. Number 55, Josh Austin. And number 82, Jack James. Those, of course, your starting lineups for both teams on offense and defense. As it's 2nd and 12. Schindel with Buchanan to his right in the shotgun. Schindel. It's Buchanan up the middle being tugged by the jersey, and he'll have a loss of about a yard on the play. 3rd and 13.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Buchanan. We saw his start, didn't we?
I believe we did at actually not Riverside. Swanee. We saw him start his first game of the 8-man football season.
Yeah, and then that was a heck of a start for any player. Just to come out your first game on MTAC 8-man football and just dominate the way he did. Yeah, he had several touchdowns against what looks like a playoff caliber team. Score update: Webb and Swanee tied 7-7 at the end of the first, and Bowling Green leading 20-0 at the end of the first. Likely another victory for Bowling Green over the Madisonville Defenders, and a close game in Swanee as Schindel fakes the handoff, running on the right side. He's going to push through to the 19-yard line. It's now 4th down and 6. So the Falcons, looks like they may have an option here. They do have Ben Duncan on their side. They do have the potential to go for a field goal. We haven't seen Duncan try any field goals from the distance, only 4 extra points, and it looks like they're going to stick to attempting it on 4th down and 6 as a fake handoff. Here goes Schindel, anticipated, and he's brought down. Jaden Frazier tackled him in the backfield. Jaden Frazier wearing number 1 tonight instead of number 9. We'll get that corrected on the roster here. Jaden Frazier with a big stop on 4th down and a turnover for Classical. Well, I was going to say before that happened, like, in the red zone is the hardest place to get any yards or move the ball on the football field. So a great stop, great read. That was actually a read option that they did right there, and Shindell just decided to keep it with him instead of giving it to Buchanan, and it was sniffed out.
So the Knights with a big defensive stop there as it's now 1st and 10. Here's a fake hand, there's an actual handoff brought down in the backfield. Quibido tackling Joshua Pace for 2nd down.
No gain on the play.
Was that on your foot? Oh wait, it's FCS's ball?
Yes, it is FCS's ball. It was a turnover on downs, Trent. Well, actually, a referee ruling something here. There's a flag thrown on the offense. Actually missed what the call was there.
Thanks for the warning, stripes.
I believe they ruled a flag. I'm not sure what the flag was there. May have been called. I believe it maybe an ineligible man downfield or delay of game. It was one of the two. Not sure what the referee called there.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's the clock's winding down. 3 minutes left. First quarter. Christian Community leads 8-6 with 5 minutes left of the first quarter. So Lighthouse trying to keep it close as Cornett hands it off. There goes up the middle. Rush for several yards on the play. There's a rush by 13. Ray Harlow taking the rush up the middle. It's now 3rd down and 6.
3rd and 6.
Hey, that's all you want. I mean, if they do that 2 more times, they got a 1st down. So. Well, I'm going to be interested to keep on doing that if FCA goes back to their normal line. Looks like they're putting 3. They're stacking 4.
And here's Cornett rushed by Buchanan, brought down. Catch made by Joshua Pace, but immediately brought down by Minor. And a loss of many yards on the play, so it's 4th down and 11. So likely FCS will punt it away this close to their own, this close to FCA's red zone.
Yeah, that wasn't a smart move by Cornett at all. He just, you know, that's just being your first game at quarterback. You just chucking the ball up there for anybody to have. That could have been easily an interception, and they having it on the 25-yard line.
Tied at 0 with 2:08 left to go in the first quarter. The Knights called a timeout.
I'm just saying, if I was a coach, I'd be furious at Cornett.
And I'm sure Seth Witherington talking to his guys on the sideline as we're at a timeout break. After the timeout, the Knights on 4th and 11. Looks like they are going to punt it away. That's a punt by Ray Harlow. No one from the Falcons team. There was one player back to receive, well far out. It's about an 11-yard punt. You're right on that, Trent. It's spotted at the 34-yard line in Knights territory. So the Falcons start out with great field advantage as Lighthouse leads 14-8 with 5 minutes left in the first quarter. So the Lions have a lead on Christian Community. We may very well see a coin toss if the Lions play dominant like that.
So is South Haven better than CCS?
Who knows? I mean, no one necessarily knows there. The ball snapped in. Shindell hands it off to Buchanan. Buchanan pushing through, pushes the pile of the defensive men for a gain of 9 yards on the play. It looks like he may be spotted at the 1st down marker. See what they call it here. It is about a yard short, about 2nd down in inches as the Falcons pushing it down here.
So that's like 3 carries for like 28 yards. Man, that's like an all-star.
As if we're not hinting it enough, Trent. So here's,
I'm just hoping James is listening.
if James is listening, and he may very well be, you hear what we're saying here. As it's 2nd down and 1, an I formation for Franklin Christian. As it's handed off to Weeks, who gets the first down and more. Hayden Weeks spinning through into the red zone at the 17-yard line for a first down.
Tackled by Jaden Frazier.
Frazier with the tackle.
I played football for forever. I don't know.
So it's 1st and 10 for Franklin Christian on the 17-yard line. The Falcons in the red zone.
1st and 10 Falcons.
Here's another I formation for Franklin Christian.
What's the red zone efficiency?
What's the red zone of what?
Efficiency.
I'm not sure. Schindel running on the right side. Stiff arm attempted there, brought down by Jack James, but flags thrown. James getting in the face of Schindel a little bit. There's a flag play there. We'll see what the referees call. Is it possible that it was a face mask there, Trent?
On the offense, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was an attempted stiff arm by Schindel, just not successful on that. So the referee looks like he's going to give us the signal here. It's a personal foul, face mask on the defense. So they called that on Jack James, and they're going to move it, I believe, 15 yards since it's not enough to be half the distance to the goal. So that's an automatic first. Actually, it is half the distance to the goal. And
weren't they in the red zone?
Yeah, they're in the red zone, but it looked like they were on the 17, so they could have moved it to the 2-yard line. That's not what they'll do. Is the referees call it 1st and goal with the penalty on the 5-yard line. So the Falcons with a good break there on the personal foul face mask. Another I formation for Franklin Christian. Actually, on the 10-yard line is Weeks up the middle, is pushed back but called for forward progress at the 7-yard line, maybe the 8-yard line. 2nd down.
Good stand by the defensive line. Just a way to just stand him up on the fullback dive. Just stand him up and saying, you ain't getting here this season.
The clock winding down to 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Maybe a play or two left before we go into the second.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they ran that same play, but Schindel just kept it and went on the outside.
If you're going to be the Tony Romo of football here, if you predict it, you're basically the Rain Man of 8-man football. So it's an I formation, and Schindel loses the ball. It's picked up by the Knights. Jack James with the recovery makes up for the personal foul face mask. 20 seconds left in the first quarter, and the Knights have possession.
Dang, I want to see if I was right.
Well, it looks like Schindel may have been taking the rush on the outside there, but couldn't keep possession. Just a little bit of miscommunication there between Schindel and the center. So the Falcons back on defense.
Well, I bet you the FCA is going to stack the line now.
So 20 seconds left, and the Knights have the ball back. It's been a game of turnovers so far. No score between either teams. And another muffed snap. Here's Cornett in the backfield, rushing it on the right side. Weeks chasing him, brought down. Gets a gain of about 5 yards on the play. So it'll be 2nd down. I believe the players are going to head to the sidelines. And they will head to the sidelines for the end of the first quarter. No score yet in rivalry night. The Knights of Franklin Classical and the Falcons of Franklin Christian keeping it intense.
Yeah, I feel like. I feel like Eli Cornett just hasn't found his mojo because I mean he hasn't really passed the ball, so he should be in his mojo of just running. So maybe he'll click into it.
End of the first quarter. We'll be right back on A-Man Extreme's YouTube channel. Second quarter starting for the Knights as they got the fumble recovery from Franklin Christian. It's a rush for a gain of a yard on the play by Cornett. 3rd down and 5. So as we know, right now, Lighthouse is leading over Christian Community, which is a shocker. And Webb and Swanee are tied. What was that voice, Trent? Webb and Swanee, yes. Webb and Swanee tied at 7, and Bowling Green dominating Madisonville 20-0 as of the last score update. So a lot of close games going on in MTAC, and
a lot of shocking scores.
Oh, absolutely.
The Bowling Green one.
Yeah, the Bowling Green one was both of you guys predicted Bowling Green would win that game because unfortunately, Madisonville, it looks like they may go winless. Incomplete pass intended through the hands of Harlow. Could have been intercepted by Minor if he had seen the ball and anticipated it there. But it's now 4th down and 3. The Knights looking to punt it away.
I mean, you could go out on a limb and say Minor is the best defensive player in the MTAC. You could go out on a limb. Some people could say that.
Trent, I think the mic was muted there. Could you say that one more time?
What? Minor could be the best MTAC defensive player.
Yeah, he could potentially be on there. There's a lot of good defensive players in the league. Of course, that's Cornett going for it on 4th down, looking for the pass, brought down by Weeks before he got the pass there.
Eli Cornett throws away the ball.
And it's time called. It's a turnover on downs. Looks like Witherington a little bit freer is thinking it should have been a roughing the passer call there. It looks like actually, no, he's getting a little bit upset at Cornett there, saying you should have released the ball a little bit sooner. So it's 1st and 10 for the Falcons in the red zone as they start out on the 19-yard line. Falcons in perfect opportunity to score here.
There's been a lot of time with FCA in the red zone together. It's like they're a package, but they just ain't committed yet.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have quite sealed the deal yet, as it's still 0-0, but the Falcons may be able to finalize that negotiation. As it's 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line, is Schindel to Buchanan. Buchanan staying on his feet, and he's taking several Knights to bring him down finally. Loss of about 2 yards on the play, 2nd down.
Yeah, it looks like a prime time Eddie Lacy running right there, or Alabama. Eddie Lacy probably better suit him.
So now, about just 10.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter, as the Falcons now outside of the red zone from where they initially started this drive.
Yeah, besides Madisonville, these are the only other 2 teams that haven't scored tonight.
Yeah, Madisonville hasn't scored. Franklin Christian and Franklin Classical have not scored, but that could very well change right now. It's an I formation for the Falcons. And flags thrown, and it looks like they'll call it delay of game here. It's a delay of game on the offense, and they'll move it back 5 more yards. It's now 2nd down and 17.
Let's talk about
Let's scared them. They had to think too much.
Let's talk about the temperature. It's cold.
We're both wearing long sleeves. It's a little bit chilly tonight. It's not as bad as other nights that we've broadcast for games.
Wearing shorts.
Oh, yeah, that's right. For once, I dress appropriately to a broadcast, Trent. Dogging on me for wearing long sleeve and pants at most of the Sunny games. Is Buchanan on the right side, up the middle. Buchanan trying to get some rushing there. Gets a gain of several yards on the play. It'll be about 3rd down and 13 for Franklin Christian.
I am impressed with the D-line for FCS right now. They have shocked me so far how well they have been able to stop Buchanan. Because they weren't really stopping Sewanee's quarterback in the run game, so I'm kind of shocked seeing how well they're doing against Buchanan.
It's now 3rd down and 14 for Franklin Christian. It looks like they're going to toss it here. And they do have Buchanan, the shotgun, with Schindel. Schindel fakes the handoff. Andrew Schindel on the right side, tossed to the edge of the end zone, overthrown, intended for number 9 of the Falcons, Sonny Reed.
Alexander Sonny Reed.
So Sonny Reed just good covers there and a little bit overthrown. So it's now 4th down. What do you do here as the Falcons offensive coordinator? What do you tell your guys here?
We have to do something. We have to, get it past that dude line,
When you started out with you have to do something. That you got to go to ESPN with me, man. We got to go to ESPN, CBS, Fox, one of the 3, or maybe even NBC Sports. We got to go there. Say, what should they do in this sport? They got to do something.
I mean, I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. That's the point. You're not wrong. It's good analysis. And a penalty has been declined. The result of the play is a 4th down. It's a false start on the offense. So 4th down.
I'd say they should just try to kick it. I mean, he probably can hit this far, so why not just try it?
They're going to go for it here on 4th down. That is the question why you don't go for a field goal to break the tie here, and it may be a mixture of things that vary with that. But it's now 4th down and 14 for the Falcons. Schindel in the pocket. Quick toss on the right side. Here's Weeks. He has several Knights players. He's in! Hayden Weeks into the end zone for the touchdown, but there is a flag.
Hayden Weeks into the air.
There is a flag, so we'll see what the referee calls here. So we're not sure if they're going to void this touchdown. Looks like it didn't see anything on the offensive line. It's a potential block in the back. We're waiting for the official to make the call. It's a false start called on the offense, and they will move it back. It's 4th down again, but Hayden Weeks with a good run on the outside, a way to stay on his feet to get in the end zone even if it's voided.
I heard a lot of happy FCS fans. They're all holding their breath, seeing what that call was, and now they're all relieved.
Yeah. So another unfortunate false start for Franklin Christian. That's their 2nd false start penalty in a row. So Bowling Green in the first quarter leading 28-0 over Madisonville. Trent's Bowling Green bias is really happy right now.
I mean, they can do better.
You think they should be like at least 42-0 right now? 50 specifically, 50 points per quarter.
I would expect it to be 50-0 against CCS.
As it's 4th down and long for Christian. Schindel being rushed, toss on the right side, it is caught! And into the end zone! Touchdown, Falcons! Brandon Miner with the reception, no flags! And the Falcons strike first blood.
Something had to break. You have all these weapons, and they just used one right there. Great pass, way to go upstairs and bring it back down to Miner.
It's amazing how in 2-man coverage that Miner could have made that. It was 3-man coverage even for him to be able to make that reception. Not only that, but for that Miner to avoid the tackles and get into the end zone. As we have a score update, we'll give after the 2-point conversion here, and it's a ruling on the field as a touchdown. There was a holding call on the defense, and the penalty declined as the 2-point conversion attempt likely coming up here. Waiting to see what the offense will call. It actually looks like Duncan is in the backfield, so they are going to go for it for the 2-point conversion. So 3 receivers on right, 1 on left. Schindel alone in the shotgun. Schindel looking for someone to get the 2-point conversion attempt. Rush, and it is caught. 2-point conversion good. Hayden Weeks makes it 8-0 with 8:33 left to go in the second quarter. The Falcons are on top with the first score of the game.
It wasn't here.
The Knights on 45-yard line.
FCA is receptive.
Yeah, I know that now because I drove
8:33 left to go in the second quarter. FCA strikes first blood 8-0. As with the penalty assessed, actually, it was the holding call was moved forward. They assessed it on the kickoff. And here's kickoff by Ben Duncan as it's back in the end zone, touchback.
Almost a field goal. Touchback.
So the Knights back on offense. We'll see how they respond to the minor touchdown. Oh, and we do have a scoring update. It's tied with Christian Community and Lighthouse at 14 with, I believe, 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Lighthouse and Christian Community keeping it close. And I believe the most points that any team has scored against Christian Community this season were 12. So Lighthouse now the most points.
Bowling Green and South Haven scored the same amount.
Yeah, and Bowling Green and South Haven scored the same. So Lighthouse with the most points on Christian Community. That was a rush on the left, on the right side by Cornett. Second down and 7.
If anything, FCS should be really happy with their freshman quarterback. I mean, this is his very first game. You know, and he might not be quarterback in the long run, but just seeing the potential you have coming up.
So the referee's having a conversation here. The down indicator hasn't changed. I believe there is I'm trying to see if it's a second down. Not sure what the referees are conversing about here.
Sorry, I'm a Timberwolves fan.
The flag was picked up.
The flag is waved. So it's now second down and 7. There's a 3-yard gain for Cornett on the rush. Clock continues to wind down. As the flag's thrown, looks like it'll be a false start. So we'll see what the official calls here. It's offsides, or actually neutral. Looks like a neutral zone infraction on the defense. So moves it back 5 yards. It's now 2nd and 12. They'll resume the game clock with just under 8 minutes left to go in the first half. It was a lot faster game than you would anticipate, Trent, because we're looking at potentially just an hour for the first half. A lot faster running than you think it'd be as a rush up the middle. First down for the Knights. And that's a gain by 13 of the Knights. We don't have the right page of the roster here. Ray Harlow, the senior, making the rush. A first down for Classical.
That's something that they need to just fire them up a little bit more. I mean, they look a little down out there. This is a rivalry game, but they still look a little down out there. Good run right there to fire them up.
So another first down for Classical. There's motion left side. Gain of about 4 or 5 yards on the play. Rush. There's 22. Caden Dickerson on the rush. Brings up second down.
Second and 5 for the Knights.
5S can fit in there.
That's a 35-yard line.
iPhone 5S can fit in there fine. Got a big old phone. Here's second down and 6. Classical. Here's Cornett looking for someone to toss to. He's being rushed from behind and brought down by Weeks. Weeks with the sack for several yards. Third down.
Weeks in on the tackle. Brings up 3rd and 6. For the Knights.
Third down and 7 after the sack for Hayden Weeks getting that sack, another defensive stop.
So I don't, like talking about this, but like, what if Cornett goes down? Who do you put in at quarterback then?
Yeah, that's the question. I'm sure FCS has thought about that on the sideline in case of that scenario. They may just do a rush-heavy game if Cornett goes down, as Ray Harlow not able to get, they're losing about a yard on the play, so it'll bring up 4th down and 7. It's the Knights here on 4th down. And they're going to punt it away. And it's a lot better punt than the last one. Schindel in the backfield, not going to chase after it. It'll be touched at the 27-yard line.
What? Their quarterback was going to return that?
Their starting quarterback would have returned it. So the Falcons in their own territory. It looks like Hayden Weeks is down. Looks like he was slow to come off. Shaka Hill coming out in the field. I believe Weeks going out there. Either an equipment piece came out or something like that, but the referees did stop play for just a little bit to see how it was going to go.
What? I can still do my thing.
So 1st and 10 for the Falcons on the 27-yard line with 5:15 left to go in the second quarter. They lead by 8-0.
Gotta get that angle.
First and 10.
Go, guys, give me the ball.
Buchanan to the left of Schindel in the shotgun. Receiver on right and left. Schindel hands it off to Buchanan, trying to go up the middle. He's avoiding several tackles, driving through for a 5-yard gain. Buchanan to make it 2nd and 5.
Don't know what you mean by trying. He just owned that hole.
Not the correct wording on my part there. You're right, Trent, but able to drive through the defense. Actually, a 6-yard gain, so 2nd and 4.
Not gonna do it again.
Come on, Trent, say it.
That's like an all-star run.
We have no filter here on 8-man extreme as a toss on the left side, caught on the ground, and Minor's still up. He wasn't touched down by, they did rule him down by contact, a late whistle, loss of about a yard or two on the play. It's 3rd down.
I mean, that's what you're taught. Play till the whistle. They didn't blow the whistle.
Yeah, it took them a little bit to actually rule the play dead. So just over 4 minutes left to go before the end of the first half.
3rd and 4 for the Falcons.
So 3rd down and 4. As a timeout's called by the Falcons with 3:58 left to go in the first half. FCA leads 8-0 in this rivalry night 8-man extreme broadcast. Third down and 4. Flags thrown.
Another whistle.
Looks like it may be a false start on the offense. It is a false start in the offense, so it's 3rd and 9 for Franklin Christian.
You know, this is a halftime question.
Okay.
I'll keep it in my pocket.
We'll go with that. Now, 3rd down and 9 as opposed to 3rd and 4. So no scoring updates from the rest of the games yet from our score reporter. So we'll see what he can get us. As Schindel deep on the right side, overthrown, intended for Sonny Reed. Incomplete. So it's now 4th down and 9. We'll see if the Falcons punt it away here.
Brings up 4th and 9 for the Falcons, still at their own 29-yard line.
Work up.
Ball's intended for Sonny Reed.
4th down and 9. So Minor in the backfield. Looks like he may punt it, or it. We've seen this type of thing before from Franklin Christian. It could be a fake punt and a run.
Oh, national incorporation that?
Yes. Hey. All right, we apologize for the brief here in Franklin, Tennessee. As Cornett rushing it on the left. Cornett trying to get past the line of scrimmage, and he's brought down. Forward progress called, a loss of 3 yards on the play. 2nd down.
I mean, you have to go upfield. You just can't go straight that way.
And he's going straight to the left side there.
4 yards on the play, so it'll be 2nd
It's an interesting choice. This is now 2nd down and 15, actually, a loss of 5.
Their own 43-yard line. Make that 42.
2nd down and 15. Cornett in the shotgun. Cornett looking for someone to pass to. Tosses it across the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Joshua Sperry. 3rd and 15.
Ball incomplete, so it'll be 3rd and 14 for the Knights.
Yeah, that was actually a good pass by Eli. I mean, you know, I don't even remember if this was his first pass or not. But if this was, you know, you can't be upset that it wasn't a completion. He's a freshman quarterback. This is his first game in. He's going to have them kind of jitters. He's never been in this position before. So that's a good job by him.
And flag thrown. Looks like it'll be a false start. They'll bring this back to 3rd and 20.
Before the ball's hyped.
It's a neutral zone infraction on the offense. 3rd and 20. 2:41 left in the first half.
So it'll be 3rd and 15, 3rd and 9, 19, 3rd and 19 for the Knights.
So just under 3 minutes left to go before halftime. Trent and I will break down the first half, try to make sense of this 8-0 game or what score may change from it, as well as try to see what both teams can do. Get victory as 13 of the Knights gets a gain of about 10 yards. Ray Harlow with 10 yards, but it's now 4th down and 11. So we'll see what the Knights do here.
So was Eli Cornett the starting running back?
Believe he was either the starting running back or one of the starting wide receivers for the Knights, at least from what we've seen in the past games. But Cornett staying as a dominant freshman, and again, we mentioned pregame that he's built up his stats as a wide receiver and also on defense, getting some interceptions as a freshman. So he's been making a name for himself here in the league as Cornett, the 8-man Hall of Fame, as Cornett, big bring down by Minor, just shoving down Ray Harlow, stopped at the line of scrimmage for a turnover on downs, and the Falcons take over on the 45.
I can't look. That was murder.
Yeah, it's in Brandon Minor, dominant force in defense in the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference.
Someone got rocked.
That's it. Go tell them. At halftime, if they don't change, I'm blaming you.
Okay. It's all on me now.
Huh? She's supposed to go down and tell him to run it up the gut. Just setting the guys up for
1st and 10 for the Falcons in Knights territory. Toss by Chanel on the right side. It is caught. There's Brandon Minor going on the right side. Brandon Minor met by Pace, but the ball is loose. The ball is loose and no ruling on the play. The Knights recover it. Fumble recovery. A good run by Brandon Minor on the right side, just a fumble on his reception run there. And the Knights back in possession.
Yeah, that's just showing that they still want it. They want this game, so they're doing everything they can to get the ball back. Hey, if one thing, that stops FCA from getting another touchdown.
Yeah, and the last thing you want as a Knights player is with 1:27 left to go in the first half. Of course, there's only that much time left. The one thing you don't want is for them to go up 16-0 or 14-0 going into the halftime huddle. Or 15-0, yeah, because they have Ben Duncan on their team. Weeks instantly meets the runner Dickerson for a gain of about 2 yards on the play, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're going to try to run the clock out, or if FCA is going to take timeouts, or if FCS is going to take timeouts. See what happens.
Well, as FCS just takes a timeout here, a minute and 12 seconds left in the first half.
Going.
2nd and 9 for the Knights after their timeout. Minute 12 left to go in the first half as the Knights try to equalize it before going into the halftime intermission. The incomplete pass, it's ruled a lateral, and it's picked up in the backfield for a loss. Joshua Pace on the incomplete there, and time called by... Looking to see. Well, actually, I believe they just called by the Falcons, it looks like. So minute 3 left, but that's why you have to pay attention to at any level for football, is that some referees can have maybe not necessarily the best angle and could rule that a lateral, but it did look like it was a clear lateral there. Joshua Pace just needed to fall on that.
Yeah, that's all I needed, but that could have been so bad for FCS. I mean, let's just say it does get Falcons ball. They've done well in red zone defense so far. But FCA hasn't scored yet in the red zone when they get there. So, it's not going to be so bad for them, but still being that close, taking that risk of a play, it shows right there that they don't run it that much. So, taking a big risk in a big game.
And with 63 seconds, here's a scoring update for you. The start of the second quarter, Christian Community leads 28-14 over Lighthouse. So Christian Community has gotten 2 touchdowns up over the Lions. Maybe is shifting a little bit, but we'll see how Lighthouse can respond as Bowling Green leads 34-0 in the second quarter. Not 50-0 as your standards you want, Trent, but they're still dominating over Madisonville there. And we'll see if we can get a scoring update from Webb Swanee as soon as they send those out. As 60 seconds deep, toss by Cornett on the right side. It's caught! Reception made by Jaden Frazier. What a catch at the 39-yard line. The clock stopped with 52 seconds as they placed the ball. But Jaden Frazier, the senior, with the big reception.
Yeah, senior night, you're going to make the big plays, and that's a big play you made. That was a great catch.
So the clock winding down now, 50 seconds left. The Knights rushing up to the line to try and get a touchdown here before the end of the first half. As a timeout called by Classical. 40.9 to go before halftime.
Third final timeout of the night.
That's more like it on CCS.
Yeah, I figured so. Once they get, that's the thing about CCS. Once they get pushed back, they fight back immensely. So
kind of like the Patriots. Never count the Patriots.
Yeah, you're right.
Even if they're down 30 points.
Of course not. No other franchise in the NFL could have made that come.
Is it not muted? Whoops, sorry everybody.
.9 to go in the second quarter as the Knights try to equalize a toss on the right side. Caught reception. Austin loses the ball. It's picked up by Minor. Not ruled down. And he's stopped at the 45-yard line. And that's a reception. The Falcons take possession.
Jack James on the reception.
But Jack James is down. Looks like it was helmet-to-helmet contact. Unfortunately, Jack James down on the field. As of now, the Falcons have possession, but an injury timeout here. That's a good sight to see that Jack James is at least up. He'll be looked at by the training staff, and I believe he will be looked at for the concussion protocol. It's a good sign that he's up. The referees have ruled 25 seconds on the game clock. Looks like they're trying to adjust it there. And actually ruling, they have 2 minutes 50 seconds on it right now, but they're trying to do 25 seconds on the game clock. So they're trying to do 25 seconds on the game clock. And the Falcons have it with a chance to score. They're on the 45-yard line in Knights territory. It's a good thing for Jack James to be down, but how about Minor to try to get that ball and anticipated being ruled a fumble?
Good for him. I mean, keep on going.
And the official trying to adjust the game clock to 25 seconds. The official's trying to get that sorted out. So they've got 25 seconds on the game clock now.
All right, stop them, guys.
As the Falcons turn over on downs, looking to get a score here.
So any bias from you?
No, there's no bias from me. I'm neutral.
I mean, you feel any heat since you're from FCA?
I mean, even if I'm from FCA, you know, there's
FCS people.
no bias among me. As Schindel scrambling, looks like he's almost brought down to the backfield. Schindel on the left side, caught by Minor. Minor staying in bounds. Brandon Minor inside for the touchdown. But the coach Witherington Fury said looks like it was he stepped out of bounds. Flags thrown by the coaches. They'll call, I believe they'll call an unsportsmanlike conduct on the bench here. Just Witherington furious with that call. It looked like from our angle he could have been out of bounds on that play, but the referee not ruling so. So another 6 points on the board for Franklin Christian. The official having a word with Andrew Schindel. It's the head referee just having a word with him. But it is a touchdown ruled for the Falcons. Another 6 on the board for Franklin Christian. And it looks like, I'm trying to see what the signal was for the referee. It may be an ejection here.
You're missing a heck of a game, Linesman.
I know these refs, and they're probably one of the best refs in MTAC. I know them kind of personally. They called a lot of my games, and they call a very strict game. They barely miss a call, too.
Yeah, it looked like from our angle, it's hard to tell unless you have a camera going down the sideline whether he was in or not, but it did look from our angle that he could have stepped out of bounds there potentially. And the score right now, Swanee leading 20-7 over Webb at halftime, Bowling Green leading 40-0 in the second quarter. So Swanee a dominant lead over Webb, and it's looking more like it may be the coin toss. So the flag called on the offense for a personal foul, and another flag on the defense. It actually looked like there were flags on both sides. Offsetting penalties. Not sure what the referee ruled there. It looked like it may have been ruled on offense. So the official talking with Coach Steve Adams. So no touchdown actually with 8.4 seconds as the ball is placed on the 12-yard line. So we're not actually sure. I believe it was offsetting penalties.
So I guess all the bench or the fans were yelling at the refs actually were for the fans.
It's actually, it's not sure what the call is, but they did call unsportsmanlike conduct on the bench for Franklin Classical. So I believe that's what they assessed after the play. So it's on the 12-yard line, and Adams just trying to figure out what the call is on his team to not rule the touchdown.
I'm kind of interested on what the Falcons did.
Yeah, it looked like they may have ruled a block in the back or tripping. I'm not sure what the signal was from the official there, but they're writing down the penalties because the head ref was talking to Andrew Schindel, so it looked like it may have been some mouthing between Schindel and the backfield. We just didn't look at that because we were focused on Minor going to the end zone, and the official having a word with Coach Seth Witherington to explain the penalties and everything.
8 seconds to go in the halftime.
Yeah, and just 8.4 left to go before halftime. A crazy game here. And the question is, it looked like the referee was signaling for an ejection of Witherington because it looked like there was a flag by two officials as he was furious that he was not as furious that Minor did not step out of bounds. It looks like Witherington's still on the field, so he is not ejected as one personal foul against him. So at least for now, it's Falcons ball in the 12-yard line with 8.4 left to go. So we'll see if we can ask the officials after the halftime what the offsetting penalties were, and we'll get that to you at the halftime break. 8.4 left to go in the second quarter. We'll see what the Falcons do here as Schindel under center in the I formation. Got Weeks and Buchanan behind him. Schindel looking on the right side for the pass. Tosses it to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. Actually incomplete. My apologies. It looks like it was an incomplete pass. That was Brandon Minor.
No offense to you.
No, that was my apologies. Yeah, it looks like it wasn't in. It looks like actually you're right. It wasn't in the end zone there. 8-0 at the end of the second quarter. Halftime. The Falcons lead by 8. Over. Actually, the referees have ruled there are 6 seconds left because of the incomplete pass, which I believe that is the case. Because of the incomplete, there should be time on the game clock. So the official asking for 6 seconds left. The Falcons running towards the side. It looks like they're trying to get the players back and saying, hey, it's... See what the Falcons are doing here. They call it an incomplete pass.
They would have to do.
Actually, excuse me. They're lining up for.
I'm really confused. I guess they're going to go ahead and start the second half and then take a break.
Okay, I think I know what may have happened here. It was a touchdown. The 2-point conversion attempt was no good, and the penalty was enforced to bring it back for that attempt. So it is 14-0 right now. The Falcons are leading. The scoreboard just hasn't been updated. And it was a touchdown, 2-point conversion attempt, no good. It's 14-0, the Falcons leading. So there's just a little bit of confusion there from the officiating. They didn't rule the touchdown there, but the Falcons lead 14-0, and it's a kickoff here for the Falcons with 8 seconds left. Likely they'll boot it back deep for a touchback to not give a chance for a touchdown return. So apologize for the confusion there, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't even know on that. The referees didn't signal a touchdown towards the scoreboard.
My refs team is slacking.
Yeah, yeah. As your ref team, they call it just slacking there as the referee signaling for something here. It looks like the referee wanting everybody to line up correctly there. So 8 seconds left in the half, and Trent and I will try to analyze this and give our word on what we've seen. It's going to be difficult to appreciate here as it's kicked out and received. That's Caden Dickerson with the ball going on the left side. Going with the return, Caden Dickerson brought short out of bounds. 1.5 seconds on the game clock. It's on the 49-yard line in Knights territory, so a chance for a Hail Mary here for the Knights.
Yeah, or you just run the clock out.
Yeah, the question is, do you trust it for a rush of the middle rush on the outside? Do you trust your running back here?
Or just try to run the clock out.
Huh?
Yeah, you could knee it down here, but as a Knights squad, I'm sure you wouldn't want to be down 14-0 at the half. You at least want to try to get something on the board.
I guess, if you want to have a chance for another turnover and a pick six or something.
Yeah, and 2 men back deep for the Falcons as Cornett is just going to rush it. The clock running down, Cornett weaving through, and that's the end of the half. 14-0, the Falcons lead over the Knights in rivalry night. Rivalry week, as it's called. So Trent and I are going to try to analyze it here. Come on, Trent, get over here. Trent trying to get down here. So turned out around the camera here. Spencer Thompson and Trent Legate trying to break down. It's 14-0. It's only it was tied at 0 at the end of the first quarter, and the Falcons only getting their scores here, keeping a little bit of a dominant lead. First off, what are the Knights doing wrong? And we can talk a little bit about the officiating. It seems to be a little bit slacking on some the controversial not out of bounds call there, a little bit of confusion and such. What are the Knights doing wrong to be down 14-0?
I mean, they got a young quarterback in. This is his first game, so FCS is doing. I mean, in my opinion, they haven't really been moving the ball well at all. FCA has been on them the whole entire game. I bet you more time has been spent in the red zone with FCA having the ball in the game than the whole entire time put together. So, I mean, FCA is just being dominant right now.
Yeah, they're leading 14-0 at the half here. And what is it going to take for FCS to kind of try, or what is it going to take for FCA to keep their stronghold in this game and to try and see it out so they have a chance, more of a chance at the semis?
Don't try anything new. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, you're right about that. 8.5 minutes. We will be back live here from Fred Lane Field in Franklin. The Franklin Christian Academy Falcons lead the Franklin Classical School Knights 14-0. We'll be right back.